Hey folks, this is Matt Marafino again, talking to you about how to navigate our course, specifically Packback. If you do not know how to access Packback already, I will show you right now. If there's a video before this called Navigating Brightspace, I believe it's under the Welcome to Brightspace name in our course content. You may want to watch that again. Okay, so this is assuming you know how to get onto Brightspace, but let's suppose you're like, how do I access this Packback? Okay, I will show you. Okay, there's a lot of ways to find it. Okay, first off, just to let you know, Packback is a relatively new tool that instructors can use. It helps to provide AI, artificial intelligence generated feedback. Just so you know, it is not a substitute for me evaluating. It gives me some time-saving advice. It also, more importantly, gives you some suggestions. But everything I grade, okay? The Packback gives me suggestions. I grade things on my own, okay? For this particular class, there are two types of items that you will use Packback for, or that you can use Packback for. One is the discussion boards, okay? There's weekly discussion boards, so there's a bunch of those. That's one area you have to use. Another area that you may choose to use is on your rough drafts for your essay. So let's take them in that order. So let's suppose we are on our home page. You know how to access that, okay? Once again, if you're ever stuck in Brightspace, don't know how to get to anything, click on the course home, which is where I am right now. You'll get back to that, okay? You can click on content, okay, like I'm doing right now. And there's a lot, like here's one area where you can click on Packback. Anytime you see the word Packback and it lights up like it's doing there, you can access it that way. If you don't see that screen on the left, if you go to any course module, I am going to go to, I'm just going to randomly pick essay number 2, which we're not going to get to for a couple weeks. If you're scrolling down, there's those checklists I talked about in a previous video. But there it is, Packback. Okay, and it's there on a lot of pages. If I click on Packback, like I'm doing right now, it will take me to Packback. Now, the first time you access Packback, it will ask you to register for the class. You'll have to put in your name. It doesn't cost you anything. It'll ask for your student ID. Use your Allegany College of Maryland student email, I should say, not student ID, but student email address. So it'll say, student.allegany.edu. That's what you use, because that's what you use to use Brightspace, okay? Also, even though you've registered for Packback, only access Packback through Brightspace, okay? Otherwise, any work you do on Packback will not show up in my gradebook, okay? So here we are for this particular class, okay? There are two things I'm going to use. They have some polls and some other things that we can use. There's a writing lab, which you can use if you want. I'm not going to require anybody to do that. But there are two things we're using it for. So I said one thing was discussion boards. So when you are on Packback successfully, okay, it'll have this thing called questions. That basically means discussion boards, okay? If you click it on, now right now all the assignments have not opened, so they're all closed. I'm going to click on this closed assignments. When you have this class, things will be open, okay? And just so you know, Packback items, they have due dates when they're no longer available, but everything is basically open at the beginning of the semester, okay? Then things just kind of go offline as we go through the semester. But I'm clicking on closed assignments. Let's just start with the first assignment. Somewhere in your course calendar, number 1, it asks you to respond to introduce self prompt on discussion board. This is found on Packback, like I just did. Okay? So, if I click on introduce yourself, okay, I, your instructor, have a guidepost. Okay, I'm going to open it up there. Okay, it says, please provide at least 3 full sentences in which you introduce yourself to me and your fellow classmates. You can tell us your nickname, family, major, all that stuff. If you don't have a major yet, I know a lot of you are in high school, what you think you might major in, or maybe just some interests, okay? And then I want you to respond to a post to a classmate, okay? So it's not going to let me do this because I'm an instructor, but there will be a section down here where you can respond, okay? And Packback will give you feedback, okay? It'll tell you how you're doing. It is, like I said, artificially generated. And if I'm telling you have at least 2 full sentences, it'll give you a score. Now, it's not a grade score, okay? But on all of your discussion boards, it'll give you what's called a curiosity score, okay? And if you have a curiosity score of less than 40, it'll probably prompt you to have more information, okay? So for all the different discussion boards, like we'll go further. Let's see. Let's go to questions again. I'm just clicking on the left. Okay. Hold on a second, folks. It doesn't like that I'm not a student. That's the way it's looking at things right now. Questions. Let's see. Let's start this all over again. Back to assignments. There we go. Close assignments. I'm relatively new to Packback here in 2024. Okay, I've only been doing this for about 6 months. Okay, essay introductions. Okay, you can even see the due dates it had there. Okay, it asks you for a 1 question, a minimum curiosity score of 40 points, due by Monday, September 12th, 11:59 p.m. Same thing with a response. That means a response to somebody else. Minimum curiosity score. So for the first kind of full discussion, which is due at the end of the first full week, it has a prompt. Okay, there is the prompt, and then you can respond to it and then find somebody else who's posted something on that in a different time and respond to them. Okay, it'll give you that curiosity score. Okay, so that is one area that you absolutely positively need to use Packback for, that regular discussion boards that happen almost every week. Okay, so that's one thing you're looking for. Another thing you're looking for is something called deep dives. Now, this is the rough draft. So I'm going to click this on, deep dives. Once again, all the assignments, since the class hasn't started yet, are closed. But if I click on closed assignments, which I can do, it has all the different rough drafts that you can, if you'd like, turn in to me, okay? If I click on essay number 1, rough draft, okay? It basically says here, please use this assignment to submit your rough draft for essay number 1. You may only submit 1 rough draft per essay. However, you can submit a partial draft, a rough draft, if that's all you've completed. So there's usually about 72 hours before the essay, the final essay is due. The rough draft is due if you like. You don't have to turn in a rough draft. I would encourage you to do it, especially at the beginning of the semester, okay? And what it will have is it'll have different ways how you can, there's the prompt, okay? This is for the rough drafts. I'm going to go up here where it says, let's see, start my deep dive. That's what I want to do. Okay, now I'm not going to put in anything right here, but you can actually start typing right here, okay? It'll give you feedback. It's even going to tell you that it's going to evaluate you on things like word count, flow and structure. That means, like, is the essay flow well? The formatting, the presentation of the essay, is it clean looking? It also has grammar and mechanical feedback. That's really valuable, okay? Because to be honest, I don't always have time to go through every line of every rough draft in a timely fashion. This will give you advice. If you need to do any research, if you're providing any research or support or citing, excuse me, it'll let you know how you're doing, okay? Up here in the document, you can actually put it here in this text. It'll give you feedback as you're typing. It will give you scores. Don't think of them as grades, okay? When you have to, if for any rough drafts you want to put in your references, like your citation page, your works cited page, if you click on references, you can add the source there. Okay, that's a good thing to do. You can also leave notes if you're just kind of like, and it even tells you here, it says, hey, Matthew, okay, I'm your digital research assistant. If you want to write notes here, It's not going to show up for me. It's going to give you some advice. Okay? You do not have to turn in rough drafts. I would recommend you do that. Okay? Once you've written your rough draft before the deadline and you want to submit it, if you just click submit, it'll show up. Okay? And I'll be able to see it, and I'll be able to provide you feedback. Okay? Now, let me show you. I can leave notes. I can't do anything here because nothing's submitted. I can give you notes on Packback, but what I'll probably end up doing is giving you feedback on Brightspace. So we're in Packback right now. I'm going to click up here, Brightspace. So here we are in Brightspace. Okay? If you want to click, after I've looked at this assignment, the rough draft, and given you feedback, I can give you feedback. And if you click on assignments, scroll down, let's scroll down to rough draft number 1. Okay? I even say, do not use this to submit your rough draft. I can actually leave for you a video feedback, like a minute, 2 minutes of giving you some advice. Okay? It will not show up the way it is right now because nothing's submitted, but I can go into an individual student's rough draft and talk about it and give you some advice. Okay? So you can submit your rough draft through Packback. I'll give you feedback in Packback, but more extensive feedback in Brightspace. Okay? So remember, you're using Packback for rough drafts if you choose, or you're using Packback for discussion boards. I'm going back to questions, closed assignments. Whoops, or I'm getting ahead of myself. This is slow today. Probably my computer. Okay? It'll give you feedback on discussion boards and on the rough drafts. Okay? You always have the option of letting me know if you have any questions, you're having trouble finding things. I know it's a little bit funky at the beginning of the semester with different areas. I think it's going to work out for you. Okay? Best of luck. Let me know if you have any questions.